Boxing Truth here. Wanted to talk about this fight, the heavyweight world title fight taking place this weekend between Hughie Fury, and Joseph Parker. It's been a fight that's been discussed for a long time. It's supposed to take place earlier this year. Didn't occur for whatever reason. It's been a weird promotion in terms of how this fight is being broadcast. There's people on the outside that didn't expect this fight to happen. Were a lot of concerns if this fight was going to go down. Just never know with Team Fury. But finally, shit's been resolved. The referee issue has been resolved. They are following the rules of the WBO for neutral officials, so everyone's happy. The fight's going to go down. And we're going to see a world title fight in Manchester on Saturday between Parker and Fury. Between two young heavyweights. Both of these guys are very young, pretty much baby boys when it comes to the heavyweight division. Fury's only 23. Parker's only 24. So it's not very often you see a matchup like this featuring two young lions, two young heavyweights, and they're vying for a world title. So going into this fight, it's practically a 50-50 fight according to the odds makers. Both guys have similar records. Parker is the more stronger of the two. I would say the guy with more brute force, the guy who's a bigger puncher. And Fury's, he's the more boxer type, the more fleet-footed of the two, the more quicker of the two. And he provides a different style, a different skill set than what Parker is used to seeing. This is a mandatory obligation for Parker. If Parker's team had their choice, they'd be wanting to fight somebody else, not Fury. Fury has a style that Parker's not used to seeing, and it's going to be interesting to see how Parker deals with the style. Now, this fight, there are some concerns for Fury. He's coming off a year layoff. There's been some issues with him physically, but he seems to have had a really good training camp. Seems to be fully dedicated, and he's looking pretty sharp in training. And he said he's had the best camp coming into this fight. So I'm really liking Fury's chances going into this fight. I just think he's the much more difficult style to deal with. He's a guy that likes to use the ring, likes to get in and out of range. He's a pretty good counter puncher. He's got pretty good skill set, has pretty quick feet, quick hands, and he's very awkward in there. A big, tall guy that can move. And Parker, he's coming off some trash performances. He hasn't looked good at all. He just ain't that good. He's what Bob Arum describes him. He's pretty good, which means he's not that good. He's coming off pedestrian performances against his sparring partner, which was a late replacement in his last fight. It didn't look good at all. Hard fight to watch. And then he's coming off a debatable decision against Andy Ruiz when he first won the title. So he hasn't really looked lights out in the step-up fights that he's taken. Against Akam, he kind of gassed out, barely held on. He was able to get a decision, very tight, close decision. But it wasn't impressive. He didn't make no statements. No one's shaking in their boots when it comes to fighting Joseph Parker. I mean, you got cruiserweights calling out Joseph Parker. They want that work. So Parker is seen as the weakest link, and you could definitely say that he is. He's just won his title. He's only made one defense. He hasn't looked impressive in quite some time. He does have some talent. He's got some pretty good hands for a heavyweight, but he hasn't displayed that in his step-up fights as of late. He hasn't been able to show those pretty good hands he has for a heavyweight. Throws some good combinations when he puts his punches together. Has displayed some power against the heavy bags he's fought prior to the step-up opponents. And Fury, he's got some experience as well. He's fought some pretty good learning fights. The Dominic Gwynns, the Fred Cassies, the gatekeepers that you need to fight in this heavyweight division. The veterans like Joe Arias. Then he fought Rudenko, a world-rated contender, a guy that could punch a little bit. So he's had some tests coming up through the rankings as well. He's fought some, good, solid learning fights to see where he's at. And his issue, he's coming off a lot of inactivity. But Parker, he just doesn't impress me. He's fighting on the road. He's going to be the road warrior. And is only his second defense of his WBO strap. It just seemed like it's going to go against him. He's not going to be able to get a rhythm with Fury. He's going to have to deal with some footwork, some in and out movement. Fury stepping in and out of range. He's going to have to deal with a different skill set than he's accustomed to dealing with. Fury's going to outbox Parker. He's going to give him a little boxing lesson. Parker's going to look like trash, not going to be able to close the distance, not going to be able to land his combinations where when he puts his punches together, he's going to be coming forward but not going to be able to find the target. It should be a good fight. I mean, if Parker does land something, it'll be interesting to see if Fury can take some of that firepower, but I've seen Fury get tested by some big punches in the past. Fury does have a shaky defense. He needs to keep his left hand up. Needs to, because he has his hands fully down when he fights his opponents. He's very confident in his movement, very confident in his slippery ability, his awkward ability to get away from punches. But he's fighting I would say the best opponent of his career, probably the most strongest opponent, a guy with some firepower. So he's gonna have to be more defensively responsible. But I got Fury winning this fight. He's going to school Parker a little bit. He's going to time him with some counter punching. He's going to step in and out of range. He's going to make Parker chase him. Parker's going to do a lot of missing. He's not going to be able to find the target. And Hughie Fury, will fulfill Tyson Fury's prediction 4 years ago that his cousin will eventually become world champion. Hughie will be the new WBO heavyweight champion, will relieve Parker of his strap, and he will be the second Fury to win a world title. And for Parker, a very short reign. And what's going to be the end as his reign as WBO champion? I got Hughie winning this fight by a unanimous decision. Pretty clear-cut victory. Y'all let me know what y'all think. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.